guys, it's Joey. This is going to be part 3 on the Gladiator guide for 2023. We're going to be talking about equipment sets and why I use them. So we're going to prioritize on my overall sets and give you a brief explanation as to how I use it, why I use it, and the potential things that would be helpful on why you should receive this equipment. So we're going to start off with my HP and MP set. So this is prioritizing extra buffs as well as changing my HP and MP pool for me to use my HP and skill delay set. So let me start explaining. This is what I use. I use the Real Espada with Mezzaluna. Here's Mezzaluna stats. So, here's the thing. Real Espada is probably one of the only swords that gives you a high amount of auto skill that's still a normal sword. So I like to use it because it gives me a total of 11% base auto skill if I'm over level 255. It also gives me melee resistance plus 9%, which is an added benefit. Now, my body, I use the Aussie model last up due to the fact that it gives me auto skill plus 14%, which is very good. The one thing that I do get bothered by is the fact that it doesn't have any skill delay built in it, or the fact that it gives me max HP plus 20%, which I don't really want in this set, but honestly, it's pretty perfect for what I actually need it for. So I have a quick cool on it just to mitigate the fact that it doesn't have any delay. Now we use a Suishin on it because that gives me max HP minus 40%. That helps me mitigate that 20% plus HP. My additional, it's going to be Brave Cape. Now Brave Cape has an additional buff that you get by defense. So while you're fighting a boss, this is probably going to be your initiator set. You want to get hit with this first while you're dizzy, and then you switch to your HP set, so you can go into Bloodthirst and Berserk and switch to your damage set and completely finish off the boss in a couple of seconds. This gives you auto skill plus 6%, as well as that attack up chance by defense buff. None of your buffs can overwrite this. We have accessories for quick cool because we do not have any skill delay. PS enhancement. This is another attack up by def chance auto skill buff that you get based by defense, so it stacks with Brave Cape, and it also does not get overwritten by any buffs that you possibly could do on your character. I have an auto skill ability on it. Now we're going to go into our HP and delay set. Now, this is meant to show you the fact that now I have all this missing HP as well as all this missing MP, and we can set up two things. We can set up our Bloodthirst and we can set up our MP. I'll show you what this set is all about. So we have Crystal Hammer for plus 40% HP. I need to get an ability on it, probably quick cool. So we have Pullus here. Now remember, whenever you see the stat that says only delay, that means that you get a bonus to both. Now, the good thing about this one is that at least gives you item delay minus 0.7 due to the fact that you have the additional delay minus 0.5. So 5 plus 2 is 7. And I have 2 of them. Crystal Hammer is very easy to get. It'll take you probably 1 or 2 party areas. The worst case scenario, you could be there for 3 party areas, but you should be able to get it with a pet. Much, much easier. Now the body. We have Vanput. It gives me all delay minus 2 seconds. as well as max HP up based on dex, an additional max HP up plus 20%, also vitality plus 12%, and it also gives me item recovery if you ever do need to have that on for some reason. So we have Montal. So Montal gives us extra movement speed. It also gives us all delay minus 2 seconds if you're over level 300. Now we have a Riddle Hatter on there. Very great because it gives you intelligence plus 5. And then it gives you item delay minus 1 second. Very good. I didn't show you the crystal on the Vanput. That was Gashadororo. Gives you an extra max HP plus 18% and an additional max HP plus 14% if it's on an armor. Accessories, quick use. Now, you can use whatever HP based special. I used America because it's pretty much all I had. You can also use Dark Sight as well, but I use America. Now, I use it with quick use and 2 Angas. Angas give you skill delay minus 1.5 seconds on special. Now let's talk about my damage sets. My damage sets are very, very similar to each other. The only thing that switches are the additionals, because I use elements. Now, Ruined Mortar Saw with Millennia. Ruined Mortar Saw is not that hard to acquire. The only issue is that you need a lot of storage space, and that might be difficult for a lot of new players or a lot of low investment players that don't buy coins or don't collect coins long enough. So we have rate cut on it. You could put critical 5 on it as well if you want. It would help. But this is the main sword that I use. I use 2 Millennias due to the fact that it gives me extra attack, extra HP, and also gives me double attack skill level plus 1, which means I have an additional double attack plus 1, double attack plus 1, and this sword also gives you double attack plus 1. So you get an entire plus 3 double attack levels just using this sword and these 2 crystals. Very powerful. Now, the powerhouse of my build, the reason why this build is successful. We have Wandering Clothes. Now, issue with Wandering Clothes is you will convert half of your strength to critical, which means you will lose a lot of attack. Now, a lot of people wonder why they do low damage. The issue with Wandering Clothes is you lose a lot of your attack, and Gladiator has a lot of additive percentage based buffs. The issue with that is that Gladiator really lacks base stats. So the reason why we use Nigdu is because you get attack up based on level, and it's actually fairly good. So you can actually opt to use a Wandering Clothes with 1 Nigdu, and you will be very successful with damage. Now, do remember that it does give you plus 3 on stun time. That might be a little bit of a bad thing, but there's ways to mitigate it, and I'll show you why. Now, for my additionals, we have Schmuck. This is for neutral. You have to remember that. So I like to use the melee to element, and then adds 10 more on additional crystals. Those are very powerful. Now, another thing that you can use the Onigawara. It's very good. It gives you ailment resistance up by crit, and it also gives you defense up by vit. You can use something like Ideas on it. Very good. You can use stuff like Monty Beret. I'll put it on the screen for you guys. I like to use critical level 5 on my accessory. Very good. Now my special is the Wild Ring Star Muncher. Now, since I do prioritize on elements, I do try to at least deal extra damage on top of the fact that I use elements, because you do have to remember that the Wandering Clothes does lower your attack, so you do have to use Nick Dew to be able to feed all these additives. Now that you have the Nick Dew on the Wandering Clothes, you can now use stuff like elements, which will completely and utterly destroy anything that you're fighting. We like to use the Star Muncher on it because it gives you plus 15% attack and plus 5% HP, as well as plus 8% HP. It also gives you an added magic resistance and hate rise. It's pretty much the best attack based special crystal in the game. Now, another thing you can use as well is you can use Dark Sight. So let's say you're not using a lot of vitality and you want to dump everything into Dex and into other stats, probably agility or probably Apostalia Red 100. You can definitely use the Dark Sight. So the Dark Sight's very awesome because it gives you accuracy plus 50, which means that you now have more chances to do clean hit. You also have attack plus 5%. And I think the thing that people love the most is that it's vitality up by 50% of dex with swords, which is very good. Now, the added benefit of Darksight compared to America is that all damage cut 20% seems to be much safer than the fact that America gives you rate cut minus percent. I don't remember the exact amount, but it is very dangerous. And I feel like I can survive with the Dark Sight way longer than I can with America. It's a little bit kind of sad that America does that to you. Alright. So, those are pretty much all of my damage sets. Now we're going to go to like a resistance grinding set. Now what do I like to use at grinding spots or bosses that I don't want to be dealing with a lot of things? So I like to use Red Tengu. We put the Sorrow 2s in there for the extra HP and attack, as well as Pierce. Red Tengu is very good with the fact that you do get Pierce up by level. It's very, very great, especially with the fact that you're also using the Sorrow 2s on it. It's very strong. We use stuff like Bellow of Order. Bellow of Order is pretty much the most balanced armor in this game. Probably will forever be. The only issue with it is that you don't really have a lot of critical bonuses to it, which kind of sucks. Now I like to use Lucio Scudo. You can use anything that you want. It is a grinding and resistance set, so if you just want to be lazy and not look at your HP ever, then I would just use this. You can also use Monty Beret as well with Ideas. Accessories, I use critical or auto skill to proc more resistance. Now for this set I use the Dark Sight. Sometimes I switch to Wild Ring if I want to do a lot of damage or a little bit extra damage. Now the one thing that I need to work on is my negate set. So I'm actually planning to use another Real Espada, possibly put a Frederico in it. The one thing that won't change is Dragon Mail. We're going to put Bodyguard Cordal in it. Gives you plus 6% auto skill rate, as well as plus 6% critical damage. We have the Ence's Shield with Rudolph. Gives you plus max HP plus 15%. And then it also gives you an additional plus 5% auto skill on additional. On accessories, we use the auto skill. And I also use the dark sight on this set. I'm also gonna be switching my special. Probably put more resistance based special on it, as well as another real espada with Frederico in it, because I want to make sure that I can activate all of my negates. Well, alright. Thanks for watching part 3. I might make a part 4, but I will have to thoroughly think of what it should be about. I'll figure it out. Alright, see you around.